Hi guys, welcome back to No Place to Be. Today we are answering the popular question of what bike should you go for, the Speed Twin or the Triumph T120?
That's right, so here is my Triumph Speed Twin and this is Alex's T120. Now I've both had these bikes for just under 2 years and we've both done just under 10,000 miles. So we're in a very good position to compare them both today and give you a very honest opinion after what is quite a long time of owning both bikes.
Yeah, that's right. So obviously they look fairly similar, but there is some significant differences between them depending on what you want as a buyer. What we're going to do in this video, which is different to any review we've seen in the past after asking this question a load, is we're actually going to swap bikes and give our own thoughts on the differences, what we like about each other's, what we don't like about it, and so on. Obviously having these bikes for quite a while, we know them pretty well. So yeah, we're going to give our thoughts, we're going to give our opinions. By the end of today's video, you should have an answer to what you want.
Let's get going.
Okay, but before we swap bikes, let's get the stats out of the way. So the T120 and Speed Twin both offer 1200cc liquid cooled parallel twin engines. The T120 generates around 79 horsepower with the Speed Twin coming in slightly higher at 96. The T120 is a torquier bike, but it is also heavier at 224 kilograms with the Speed Twin coming in lighter at 196. Both bikes have retro and classic inspired styling, with the Triumph Speed Twin and T120 offering modern minimalist looks. The riding positions we'll discuss as we swap bikes, but both bikes come with modern features such as traction control, different ride modes and ABS brakes. They all come in a range of colours and they both can be bought for around £10,000 brand new. But it's back over to me and James in a conveniently placed car park and we're about to swap bikes, so let's get going.
First thoughts? Getting on each of his bikes. It's going to be weird watching Alex get on my bike and ride off, but I also imagine it's weird for him to see me ride off on his bike.
It is.
Both in the same boat.
It's like watching someone steal your wife.
It's alright, I'm into that. Right.
Yeah, go on, go for that guy. I know.
Right, okay. First thoughts, turning it on.
Oh, yeah.
Feels a little bit beefier. Handlebars, little subtle differences, but let's get on the road and really test them apart.
Nice little gap here someone's made for us.
Yeah, there's a gap here.
Aye.
So first thing I noticed is just the foot placement's different. Like just reaching for the rear brake there, just felt like I couldn't find it straight away. But let's go.
I'm in fucking neutral.
You'll not get far. Right, my feet are in. We're in. Right, let's go.
Okay, James's bike, let's see what it's got to offer. So yeah, like James says, first thing you notice on any new bike is your riding position. Slightly more length forward on this, in that your feet are more in a sporty position. Not much, but you can feel it, and you're slightly more length forward. Let's open her up a little. Yeah, so
nice road straight away.
Yeah, great little road. So yeah, I mean for me straight away, they're both in road mode, so we are comparing apples to apples, but your acceleration curve I think on your Speed Twin is slightly more aggressive in that your throttle to power ratio a bit higher.
Yeah, and the T120 just feels way more chilled, very much gentlemanly ride. Like the power delivery is very linear. It doesn't feel as snatchy or as quick to just jump at the road as the Speed Twin. It's just doing its thing, a bit more laid back, very neutral, very more planted. I can feel it's a bit like heavier. It's a bit. I have to sort of like let it just glide around the corner rather than like really getting in after it like on a Speed Twin. And they're the main differences I've noticed just straight away on that open roads. Obviously we've got a corner coming up here, so we can just test that again. Just gear down, brake into it nicely, and I don't want to take it too fast being Alex's bike.
Yeah, alright.
But we'll just keep going forwards.
It's one of those things that these aren't pros and cons, these are only pros and cons depending what you want to do with your bike.
Absolutely.
So one person's pro might be another person's con, you know, so yeah, I don't think either of us regret getting these bikes, and equally if I got this and James got mine, I still think we'd both be just as happy, to be honest.
Yeah.
They just offer different things. But I think the core of the bikes, really, there's not much difference in them. This video is just to highlight what there is and then let you make an educated guess.
Exactly that.
One thing I'd say as well, which is sometimes a preconception people have of both bikes, is that you can't do long tour rides on them and stuff, which is false. They think because it's like a cafe racer bike, there's no way you could tour on it, and to do that you need a big bike, which I think we've proven wrong, to be honest.
Absolutely. Well, these two bikes can do everything. I think they're perfectly centered in the middle to do everything, like almost everything that an adventure bike can do, and almost everything that like a more sportier bike can do. They're basically like the jack of all trades, and that's personally why I didn't go for a Thruxton, because I thought that the Speed Twin, basically having the same power as a Thruxton, would be more suited to doing more long distance touring, and that's what I've found to be true, to be honest. You can get so much luggage on both of these bikes, and especially with the little luggage rack on the back of what I've installed, you can get a significant amount of baggage on there, and we went around Scotland for over 2 weeks, so they have definitely got a lot to offer for everything.
But yeah, right now I'm noticing more similarities than differences. I think sport mode will probably be a big thing on this bike when we finally get it in that.
Yeah, and I think when Matt rode my bike for the first time, I didn't put it in sport mode, so he said he couldn't really tell the difference other than the seating position. So
coming to a stop, I can tell this is slightly higher.
Yeah.
Still not much higher. You can still flat foot it, but it is a difference.
That's true. I can definitely flat foot this with considerable more knee bend. I think that's probably the word to use. So we're both pretty much like 5'10", pretty much average height. So most people, I'd say all people really, should be able to flat foot this T120 and certainly get both toes up to the floor on the Speed Twin.
Yeah, well, I remember on the other way, kids taking pictures of us, so...
Yeah, I saw that. They are just good looking bikes. Like, it's one of those things, and you're not going to be disappointed with either bike you get. Like we said, this video's to highlight the differences and you make a decision, but at the end of the day you're paying basically the same price for either of them, about 9 grand second hand.
Maybe a bit less now if you go for 2019 model.
Yeah.
Be down at mid 8,000 at this point. But
yeah, 8, 9, 10k, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
But at that price range, I don't think it matters what bike you're going to get. You know you're going to get something that's built to a level of quality.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've been on these bikes now about half an hour.
And it's still a very raw experience, you know. It's the first time we've ridden these bikes, each of us bikes anyway, for the last half an hour. So there we go. It's much easier if you've got an engine rather than pedalling up this hill.
It was a nice test doing a bit of slow riding uphill.
True. One thing maybe worth saying, this bike being a bit bigger, a bit more planted, maybe it would suit bigger individuals. So if you were you know, above 6 foot and above the average build, perhaps the T120 would be more tailored to you if, you know, you were looking for a cafe racer and you weren't sure which one would be more suitable.
What are we doing here?
He's gonna pickle this kid.
This is a nice little highlight of why you get a bike, not a car, on the weekend.
He is not getting through there. He is.
I think he is just.
There you go. Perfect.
It's just subtle differences, I guess, that add up to a different style of riding.
Quite a considerably different riding style, I'd say. I mean, they look the same. They look very similar when you're looking at them on the road, but then when you get on them, there is quite considerable differences, I'd say.
One thing to note on mine, which the previous owner did, no idea who he is, but the suspension is upgraded and the seat is upgraded. So again, that's probably leading, I don't know, James, correct me if I'm wrong, to like some kind of a smoother.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to say on these slower roads, I'd say it's a much smoother like ride and experience, whether that just be through the suspension or less play in the throttle, that's less snatchy as well. It just feels very, like, I don't know, transient, smooth experience. Whereas I know on mine, I think the Speed Twin, there's a little bit of throttle play, and I do often leave it in sports mode, which is probably why it's a bit snatchy. But I think even still in road mode, it's probably the T120 is a little bit smoother at slow speeds. I'd probably confess that.
You get to a certain price point and they're all good, and then it just becomes being out with your mates, you know.
So you're obviously watching this video because you don't...
You're not buying a Kawasaki H2, you know, 200 horsepower sports bike. You're looking at this niche of bikes. So, you know, you're already narrowed it down to the torquier cafe racers like this.
But guys, if you are liking this video, we don't just do reviews, we do motor vlogs, trips, loads of different stuff. So if you are liking this kind of content, be sure to check out more videos. Drop a subscribe while you're there. You know, like the video, ring that bell, all that stuff.
So I think is it the big straight on the left coming up that we went up?
After you get up this hill and round corner, yeah.
So what I think we should do at this point, switch it back to sport mode, and we'll do a little acceleration test up this hill, and just give our contrasting thoughts on you know, the immediate acceleration and performance of the bikes up that road again.
Yeah, but we'll get to the top of this hill, there's a bit of a straight, so I'll put it in sport, and we'll have a bit of a side-by-side.
Have a rip up the hill. If there's nobody coming, we could do it side by side, have a rip, just compare them.
They just take up so much room, don't they?
Like you said before, this definitely feels wider. So I've got my knees against the tank, and it's basically at like a...
I can tell looking at you, like I'm used to obviously riding behind James, and I can tell looking at him that he's like positions like slightly more spread out.
Yeah,
I'm just going to change.
Whereas the Speed Twin, like you probably alluded to earlier, your knees are much closer to the tank, aren't they?
Yeah, so I've got this in sport mode now, so I'm going to get a bit of a brum. And then slam the brakes on. There's no cars coming, James, you good?
Yeah. Cool. Everyone right. You should find the brakes as well, maybe a little bit sharper on the Speed Twin. Obviously they are dual Brembos, which is a little bit of an upgrade to the T120. So you might find if there's any difference in stopping that you can notice. So we're seeing sport mode down the hill. How did you...
You can. It's basically exaggerating the acceleration to power ratio is how I'd describe it. In that,
yeah.
And obviously that's already slightly higher in road mode than the T120, and then sport mode just takes it a little bit higher than that. So
yeah.
It is a big jump as well from road to sport. You can tell on this bike what mode you're in, which is good. You don't want one of those fake signs that says it's got a sport mode. You put it in it, and
it just makes it louder.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think sometimes people do though, just as a marketing point.
That's what I always think. I mean, there was a sport mode in my old Ford Focus, and it just made it louder. But on the Speed Twin, it seriously improves the performance.
So yeah, I guess overall, James, how are you finding it then?
It's just a way more leisurely ride, isn't it? It's more planted. Like going around the corners, I feel like I'm just sort of gliding round them on a big raft almost, and then you just cruise out of it with those big parallel twins with the grunt. And it's a very like gentlemanly experience, but with a punch. You know, you're not maybe an Interceptor or something like with 600cc you might feel like that, but there isn't the punch. And I think the T120 provides that full experience of like a gentleman's ride, but with a big torquey punch out of the other side of the corner. That's how
yeah, see, it's weird because I'm having like the opposite experience, which it does show the differences in the bikes, and I feel like I'm on a decent ride, but it's not as gentlemanly as that. It's definitely more aggressive. So yeah, that can lead to more fun on definitely on shorter rides when you want to experience, you know, quick 2 or 3 hour rides, ragging it round, having a good laugh. I'd say personally on 4 or 5 hour rides, that's probably a little bit easier on your arse, the T120.
Yeah.
Just in your attitude to the road, really. Like this can overtake everything. I mean, look, it's fastest. You do 0 to 60 in 4 seconds, but the way it's set up, it doesn't make you want to attack the road. It's more of like an experience.
Yeah, I can vouch for that because this feels more aggressive. But again, that's down to you. That's down to just because we're saying that. That's down to you think you want a more aggressive bike, but you still want to ride leisurely. There's nothing stopping you getting this Speed Twin or T120. It's one of those things that I do think you'd be happy with both, but if you're leaning one way more than the other, then this probably might just tip you over the edge to buy one or the other as well.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
But yeah, I guess my overall thoughts is very similar bikes with small differences that add up.
Yeah, it's subtle differences, but like you said, compounded, they do go quite a long way to providing a big difference in the riding experience.
But on roads like this, they just feel at home. You know, two Triumphs coming down here, like an old classic. Feels like we're about to approach our big estate that we live in or something.
Yeah, I wish.
Whereas, you know, if I was coming down here on like a 4-cylinder sports bike, people would be like, what are you doing?
They belong on a track. It's hard to find a home for them place. And again, it's not that you can't take them to these and have fun, but they don't feel...
Yeah, a 4-cylinder sports bike on these roads is just like, doesn't fit in. It's just alien.
I think equally, these fit in the middle of a city centre, like being bike shed in London.
Yeah.
And they look at home there as well, so they do, again, they're a bit of a melting pot of different styles.
That's it, jack of all trades really are.
Master of none.
Basically, yeah, but being a straight 7 out of 10 on every metric is quite rare, and it's a lot of fun, isn't it, really, when you compare it. You might have a sports bike that's like a 10 out of 10 and then a 1 out of 10 on other metrics, so overall it might not be the bike for everyone.
Let's get back in here, shall we? Let's go and move. But we've managed to get back to an amazing view and both bikes are intact, so that's a win.
That's it, and now we can just give a final closing thoughts and wrap up the video.
Right then, so we're back from riding each other's bikes in our scenic location, and I must say that was a lot of fun to change over bikes for a change. Alex, what do you think riding the Speed Twin for the first time compared to the T120?
Yeah, it was a really cool experience. I mean, obviously we've talked throughout the video the differences, but just to sum it up as a quick sentence, that is definitely more of a performance-based bike than the T120. You can definitely feel the lightness compared to this one. You definitely feel like you sat with your knees a bit more tucked in and you're a bit more of a racing position. So yeah, overall that is definitely slightly tips the bar in terms of performance than the T120. What I would say is, James, same question back to you. How did you enjoy the T120?
Yeah, really enjoyed switching it up actually. As I was saying, it's almost 2 years that we've had these bikes and we haven't really ridden them very long at all, but it was quite nice to change it. And I must say this is very much more an upright, gentlemanly ride, more planted, the tank feels bigger, the knees are a bit more spread out around that larger tank. And it just feels more planted. So taking the corners, it doesn't feel like it can't do corners particularly well. It just feels like you sort of have to like manhandle / glide it around the corner, and it's more gentlemanly ride. And then when you come out the corner, you've got that big beautiful torque and the power. So it's like right around the corner, and it's just more gentlemanly ride but it's still got all that grunt and power that you'd like from a bike of this nature. So if that's more your cup of tea, that you like the upright position, you like the beefier retro looks, then that's definitely a great option.
Yeah, so just to sum up roughly this video and the point of what we've basically concluded is, in terms of style and design, I think the T120 probably tips it. There's not much in the bikes between the looks. I mean, you can see the basically the Bonneville shape. Ignoring the colours, this tips it, I think, just in terms of small details on the bike, and you can see a little bit more attention to detail on stuff like this chrome fuel cap and stuff like that. So slightly tips it there in terms of the looks. I think in terms of performance, James, you can sum it up, but yeah, this one tips it.
Yeah, absolutely. And touching on the colours as well, obviously I've got the red Speed Twin. It does also come in a grey, and the base model is black, which is cheaper as well. So you've got all the colours there, grey, black and red. But yeah, just a bit more sports orientated. And when I first got back on it as well after swapping, I could definitely feel how much lighter it was. So the coveted question now we've both swapped is, Alex, now you've ridden the Speed Twin, would you still buy the T120?
No, I enjoy that bike, but I can't say any regrets, and I'll ask you the same question, but I'm gonna probably get the same answer.
Exactly, that's right. So loved riding the bike as a change, but when I got back on this definitely felt more like the bike for me, just because I purely like a bit lighter, more flickable, more power, and it still looks like a great retro bike. But for Alex, he's more into the looks and the overall more planted feel. So I think we're both very happy with what we bought and the reasons why we bought them in the first place.
Yeah, so we hope this video has helped you make your decision. We've basically concluded that they're both great bikes. It's just which way you lean.
If you pardon the pun. So yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe for more of this kind of content. Let us know below what you're leaning towards and why, and we hope to see you in the next one.
Peace out.
Oh fuck.